Today I'm tackling a common challenge faced by business owners and leaders: how to deal with people not delivering what you want or what you expected. Lots of people find this really frustrating to deal with, and one thing I've noticed is that at the root of many of these issues is miscommunication. And so in this video I'm going to share what causes this and how to overcome it so that you can better communicate your expectations and get things done. Hi, I'm Leanne Bridges and I help business owners and leaders to reach their goals faster and easier. So first of all, let's just reflect for a moment on what creates this miscommunication. So sometimes at the heart of this is unclear expectations at the outset. So sometimes we can think that we've been clear with our request or about what's needed, but the other person doesn't actually fully understand what's needed. And then sometimes people might hesitate to ask for clarification because they fear that it will make them look incompetent. And of course, that fear can then lead them to going down the wrong path or delivering a substandard piece of work. It could also be that you've got different priorities, which might lead them to focus their attention on one part of the project at the cost of other areas that you consider to be as or more important. Or maybe they put the thing that you really need done to the back of their list because they can't see the bigger picture and why you need this. Those are some of the reasons. Then let's look now at what you can do about it. So the first thing to do is to be really clear with your expectations. That's the first step to overcoming this and ensuring that they really know what you want. I find when I'm working with clients and I ask them about what they wanted as an outcome and how clear that was to the other person, that quite often it wasn't really very clear at all. It wasn't clear at all. And on the other side of that, for the person delivering, that ambiguity can be really uncomfortable. So be specific when you give the task to provide clear, detailed instructions and specify things like deadlines or the outcome you'd like, how much flexibility there is for them to apply their own approach, or whether you need it to be done in a specific and certain way. The next thing to do is to be sure to encourage questions. Don't rush things, take your time and make sure that people know that you're really open to questions and that asking for clarification is a sign that they're thorough, not incompetent. And it will create an environment where people feel really comfortable then asking for guidance. And then the third thing you could do is to try different communication channels, because different people have different ways that they like to be communicated with. So, make sure to give important information in various different ways, because some people, they like you to talk them through things, or some people like written documents, or perhaps another person might want you to draw a quick diagram or sketch out a process. Where you've been really clear though, with miscommunication can still actually happen. So I wanted now to look at what you do to avoid that after you've set clear expectations. So the first thing that you can do is to practice active listening. So when you discuss issues with your team, make sure that you listen really carefully and attentively, and it will help you better understand their perspective and really get to the bottom of what's happening. You need to listen with your ears and your eyes, all of your senses and your mind, to really listen to what's being said and notice where the other person looks or sounds uncertain, and pick up on those cues, because that will really help you spot where the other person just doesn't understand. The second thing you can do is provide constructive feedback. So when you address any concerns, focus on the task, not the person, and offer constructive feedback and explain the difference between what it was you expected and what it was that was delivered. And it helps the person then to understand how to improve without feeling attacked or demoralised. And I help clients with this one really regularly. Quite often and quite innocently, leaders can give feedback which is where they sometimes will end up then judging the person. And for the other person, what that's doing is making them feel a bit attacked. And it gets all of their survival instincts into action, and that's what gets people defensive. And of course, that really gets in the way of having a great discussion with them. Now, sometimes this is really subtle, so you have to really watch out for it, because sometimes in their mind, people can, or leaders can, start to make assumptions about performance and what's causing it. That person, they're just not up to the job, or maybe they think that they're lazy, or maybe they think they're just not very good with people, or it could be any of those things. But all of these sorts of things are playing into the conversation, these judgments. And I had this recently with a client who thought that someone in their team was lazy and they just spent too much time chatting, and so not as focused as they needed to be and not getting things done. Now, as it happens, it wasn't any of that causing the problem. They really wanted to do a good job, but they weren't clear on what was needed, and they worried that they would look silly by asking questions. They were on the verge of getting into some formal performance conversations with that person when actually the person was fantastic. They nearly overlooked a really great member of their team. And then the third thing is to reiterate your expectations. So after you've provided feedback, restate what your expectations are so that you know that you're both on the same page. And that might mean that you need to revisit instructions or deadlines or the outcome that you want. And the fourth thing to do is be really open. So to minimise miscommunication in the long term, it's really essential to create a culture of open communication, so like a blame-free environment, and encourage team members to speak up about challenges and mistakes so that they don't fear any retribution. And that promotes a problem-solving mindset with them and a more collaborative culture overall. And then the fifth thing to do is schedule regular check-ins so that you can discuss progress, address their concerns and provide guidance, and it will really help you catch any miscommunications very early on so that you get the outcomes that you need. So if you find this video useful today, don't forget to hit the subscribe button or the notification bell so that you don't miss my latest content that's specifically designed for business leaders like you. So let's quickly recap. To stop miscommunication and get the outcomes you want, you need to be clear with your expectations, encourage questions, actively listen, provide constructive, non-judgmental feedback, be open, and have regular progress check-ins. And if you'd like my support to create a high-performing team and culture, then check out my leadership coaching on my website, which is www.leannebridges.com. So thank you for watching today, and I'll see you really soon.